Some of us got so good at reading the room that we completely forgot how to read or even know ourselves. Let me ask you this question. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately started adjusting? You change your tone, your volume, your facial expression, your energy changes, all of those things. Because you read the room, you feel what the room is giving off, and you immediately adjust who you are to fit in, right? Because we really, really want to do that. And I became an expert. I became an absolute expert at most of the time. What it really boils down to for all of us is diminishing ourselves, being small enough to fit in the space, to be small enough to, be appropriate is often the word that comes. I mean, I think that starts early. I think it starts sadly, when we send a wild child it's just incredibly cool, but also just way out there. We send them to school and we tell them, sit down and shut up. And we take away all of that creativity, all of that life that's in them in that first moment. For me, it came from a much more insidious kind of place. I found myself working in church, and you got to remember, okay, my dad was a pastor, my grandfather was a pastor. I spent my whole entire life in church, all right? Been a Christian. I remember the very first time that, I went to the altar, gave my life to Jesus, any of those kind of phrases you want to use. I remember the first instance of that, I was 5. And it really boiled down for me to, oh, wow, I can know Jesus better. All right, cool. And it's really kind of been that way my whole life. It's just like, all right, if there's another way I can know Jesus even better, I absolutely want it. I'm in. However, you then get out into the world and you're supposed to be respectful. You're supposed to be under authority. You're supposed to be all of these things. And the box keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And you shrink and you diminish and you let yourself, what's the old Bible verse? Put your light on a candlestick rather than under a bushel. And yet, really, the whole world in many ways is designed to cover your light, to at least put a lampshade on. A lot of times it's more like throwing a blanket over top of it so no light can escape. And most definitely in church, because, I wanted to be decent and in order. And I found myself as so much less than. Zeke, glad to have you here with us. Because I was serving under people who, they had been Christians for a couple of years. They didn't know things, they were still learning the Bible in many cases. And that's not to diminish their authority in the position they were in or any of those kind of things. That was never the heart of me. But I bought into a false narrative that told me I needed to sit down and shut up and be less and not share and not do the things that just came naturally to me. And our insight, our real us, it kind of slowly dies. We begin to lose touch with our own signal. We lose touch with the honest, real, true us that the world needs. We have an Oprah. We have an Obama. We have whether you like him or not, Donald Trump. We have, and the list goes on, Tony Robbins, Dean Grazioso. I mean, we could name names of powerful, popular people forever. They've got that space of being them. And most of them do a great job at being themselves. And that's what sets them apart, is because they are uniquely willing to just show up as who they are. Some people like them, many people hate them. But they don't change who they are because of that. But we end up often, I know I have many times, disconnecting because we're adjusting the tone of ourselves to the room, to the people. to our surroundings versus living up to all of who we are and all we can be in every moment. So, my question for you is, what's something you catch yourself automatically adjusting around other people? You adjust it before you even realize you have. I'd love to hear from you. I hope that your week is kicking off. It's Memorial Weekend, so maybe you're spending some time with family, doing some cool things in the world. I hope you're happy, safe, warm, and loved. And then until we're together again next time, which is tomorrow, I hope you have a great week. We'll talk soon.